I had an epiphany about myself in Washington. While summer nomad life is visually more beautiful than I could have ever imagined, with wildflowers in bloom and everything green and full of life, there are other trade-offs one has to deal with that I'm just not used to, and I did not mentally prepare for, as this is my first summer on the road. Number 1, the heat.
So I'm not proud of this, but I'm a real baby when it comes to the heat, like a real baby. Okay, it was 89 outside. I wasn't being that much of a baby. It was hot. Woof. Yeah.
Number 2, the crowds of people making remote locations feel like small cities rather than peaceful escapes. Number 3, sleep deprivation due to late sunsets, early sunrises, and the ever-dwindling cooling effect that happens overnight.
I need to get some sleep. It's been one of those things where it's been like really hot till like 1 a.m. and then it gets like really cold at 4 a.m. so that wakes you up and then you put on more blankets, but then at 6 a.m. it starts getting hot again, so then you have to take off the blanket, so you're just waking up like every 2 hours to adjust your temperature. Yeah, it's exhausting every single night.
And number 4, random teething that happens in your mid-20s, which confirms your fear that you are in fact one big, giant baby.
You know what else it is? One of my wisdom tooths is trying to come in the back, and it's kind of painful. Gotta love it. Teething at 27. Is that TMI about the wisdom teeth? Well, it's happening, so.
Which I mean was hilarious timing. I was being a baby about the summer, and then my body responded with teething. It's kind of funny. It was a long, slow process to reach this point, because while I was experiencing the lows, I was also experiencing beautiful highs.
Well, everyone, I am back in Washington. We are at Mount St. Helens Volcanic National Monument, and we are dispersed camping in the forest here. This is going to be a weird statement. Washington has the best smelling forest that I've ever smelled so far. So beautiful. Oh gosh. It smells, yeah, I want to remember this smell forever. Okay, I'm done with being weird about the smell, but it smells like pure pine, like the good stuff, not like the weird Febreze stuff. Anyways, okay, I'm done. It's just, I'm really happy to be back. Have I mentioned how good it smells here? It smells like Christmas. That didn't make any, okay, I'm done. Guess what we're doing this morning? It's another lava tube. Gonna have to go to Lava Tubes or Caves Anonymous. I'm addicted.
The thing is, there's never emotional simplicity to any of my experiences. There are moments of pure awe, excitement, amusement, and happiness. Then there are moments of real irritation, boredom, loneliness, and confusion. And all the other moments in between. Usually the experience is about 70% positive, 30% negative, if I'm being honest. But the summer has swung the pendulum down to about 50-50. I think I feel guilty when I don't feel amazement at all hours of the day while traveling, because I remember the Angie that was trapped at a desk and could only dream of standing exactly where I am today. But that's unrealistic. I think it's good to constantly be putting your life in perspective, resets your mind to a place of gratitude or acknowledgement of how things have changed. But the reality is you just can't ignore your emotions. And it's difficult to quickly change your emotions. So I had to come to the realization that it was time to change my environment.
Have I mentioned I love this?
Very busy here though. Lots of people.
Very cool. Although there was a real lot of people here. Whew. It was like echoing everywhere. People with their kids that were like screaming. It's kind of fun. Not that fun. It's kind of funny.
These summertime factors I mentioned earlier had slowly been building throughout the length of my trip out west, as camping spots became harder to find as the places began filling out for the summer. And may God bless anyone trying to find last-minute camping accommodations on the weekends. And if you want a first come, first served spot on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you better get there in the early afternoon and not leave if you find a spot, which defeats the whole purpose of spending my days exploring. Instead, I feel like I am babysitting my campsite and then campsite hopping in order to have a safe place to sleep every night. The days were obviously becoming progressively hotter, and the nights cooled off a lot slower than when I first started. This led to an inability of me to get a full night's sleep, which after a few months will start to affect your mind. I mean, I've always been a little crazy, as you may have picked up on, but this was turning into delirium.
This is a big one. Crazy.
I have been finding it difficult to find the motivation to hike in the heat, and with the ever-increasing crowds. National parks were reaching record visitations, and it was becoming harder for me to peacefully explore places on my bucket list. It seemed everywhere I turned there were closures due to fire, rock slides, lingering snow, also a crazy amount of mosquitoes. Nothing was going to plan in an increasingly frustrating kind of way. Summer on the road requires a whole new set of skills that I did not have in my skill toolbox, and I was violently humbled, yet again. Road 2, Angie 0.
You guys see that river snake? It's bad enough that snakes live on land. Do they have to live in water too? Is nowhere safe? Oh, gives me the creeps. I gotta lay off the peanut butter and chocolate chips. I'm making bridges groan.
It was here in Washington, on the other side of the country, that I realized I was no longer traveling and making stops because I wanted to, but rather from the artificial, self-inflicted pressure on myself to quote-unquote enjoy and take advantage of the summer. But the hard truth I kept on denying was that I was no longer having fun this summer, and I hadn't been for weeks now. While I spent my days hopping from one campsite to another and fighting other tourists for the views, I was surrounded by groups of friends and family, which hit me with an emotional challenge. I watched and listened as friends laughed at inside jokes and argued about what they were going to eat for dinner. I heard families playing games with their kids, answering their endless questions about the new sights they were seeing, and of course, screaming at them to behave as the afternoon meltdowns inevitably happened in the summer heat. The chaos of it all made me miss my own friends and family in a way I hadn't before on the road, as the other seasons on the road are quiet and often filled with other solo travelers like me. So, for all those reasons, and true to the nomadic nature of my journey, I scrapped all my plans yet again. When I really thought about it, where I wanted to be in that moment was home. Someplace familiar where some of the question marks in my life don't exist, and where I can have adventures with people I care about. So, I mentally surrendered, waving the white flag in the war that waged on in my mind, and resolved myself to setting a new course to take me homeward bound.